clown. Okay. All right, it's recording. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining and being a part today, taking time out of your day to do this. This is probably going to be more like a power half hour. I said in the post, it's really just more informational. What I want to provide you guys with is just a brief understanding of the products that are part of the Renew You Challenge packs, because obviously that's what we are focusing on and trying to get people registered for and to be a part of, which they also happen to be, I guess, everything except if people order the combo that includes triplex. These also happen to be the same products that are in the 3-day challenges. Just remember that if you're getting pushback from people about them maybe not really being ready to commit to the 60-day challenge yet, that you can get them started with these 3-day challenges. They're going to fall in love with the products, and then you're going to be able to transition them pretty seamlessly into the Renew You Challenge. So just know they've got to be registered for that by January 31st. In order to participate. The other great thing about starting people off with a 3-day challenge is that it comes with a $20 off coupon. So if they want to buy the products as an ambassador versus a customer, then that gives them the opportunity to have a really good discount. So let's jump in to just some of the mindset and stuff that happens around this time of year. There's obviously a reason that companies like Plexus and other businesses do challenges like this at the beginning of the year, and that's because so many people are making a commitment or a recommitment or a restart or a reset or a renew, whatever you want to call it, to a healthier lifestyle. And that's all encompassing. So when I talk about a healthy lifestyle, I'm talking about eating right. I'm talking about proper supplementation. We know that, with today's food sources, you cannot, even if you were to eat everything organic, your body simply cannot get the nutrients that it needs from a good diet alone. So a healthy lifestyle that includes eating right, supplementation, moving your body on a regular basis, even if that's just shooting for getting 10,000 steps per day. That should be the minimum that you're looking for. And then practicing a healthy mindset as well. And when I say practicing a healthy mindset, there is statistically, we are coming up on what is today, the 10th of January. Most people who have a New Year's resolution make it about 12 days into the new year before they sort of abandon whatever commitment it was that they showed. So that was one of the reasons that Plexus wanted to include accountability partners as part of this Renew You Challenge, because we know that if we have someone to hold us accountable, we're more likely to do what it is that we've committed to do. But really, it's about making a 60-day commitment to show up for yourself. And so as you're visiting with people, that's language and verbiage that I want you guys to use is, if you're talking to, we'll use Judy as an example here. If Judy is my potential, then one of the things I'm going to say to her is, Judy, what I really want for you to do is I want for you to make a 60-day commitment to show up every day for yourself. Especially as women, we have so much on our plates, whether it is being working, being moms, running businesses, whatever it is. My kids right now have basketball, ballet, piano, there's so much stuff. We're going in so many different directions. But I know that if I don't set a commitment with myself, good, Judy, I'm glad you're signed up, that if I don't set that commitment for myself to say, I am going to go to the gym at 9 o'clock, 3 days a week, and then have somebody to hold me accountable to that, like I'm going to meet my friend Kim at the gym and we're going to work out together, then the odds are that I'm not going to stick to my goals. So I really want you, as you're signing people up, and more than likely they're going to put you down as their accountability partner, hold them accountable. Say, I want your permission to hold you accountable to Are you exercising? Did you drink your water? Check in with them. Hey, did you take your supplements today? I know Plexus has some texts going out too, reminding people, but we want to make sure that we're cultivating that relationship. And it also goes back to what Becky trained on earlier this week about customer care and following up and checking in on people. So one of the things, so the main products that are part of the Renew You Challenge, we'll jump in on that real quick, are Slim Hunger Control. Now, I know that there are people that prefer microbiome activating, and if they do, they can place an a la carte order for that. But obviously, there's a reason that we included hunger control as the main component of this challenge, because we know that it has a significant impact on what we refer to as satiety, which basically means like your body feels fuller faster. It has 8 grams of fiber in it, and that fiber makes you feel fuller faster and fuller longer. So it cuts down on snacking. You're still going to get the same benefits of the blood sugar balancing, and that's going to help your body, because if you have excess blood sugar floating around in the bloodstream, then there's only one way that your body has to store the excess blood sugar, and that is as fat. So the blood sugar balance is a huge component of healthy weight loss with hunger control, but also having that fiber. Women especially need about 35 grams of fiber at minimum per day. And so unless you are eating almost entirely a plant-based diet, you're going to need a tool like hunger control to help you get to that 35 grams of fiber. Remember, I mentioned it has 8 grams in it. And that helps with so many things. It helps with hormone balance. It helps with, because the only way that your body has to get rid of excess hormones is through regular daily bowel movements. So Slim Hunger Control definitely helps with bowel movement and bowel function. It helps to clean out your liver and for your liver to function more efficiently. The liver is sort of like the filtration system, the detoxifying system of the body. So a healthy liver is really, really key to overall health and wellness. Slim helps with that as well. And then, like I said, it's going to help people feel fuller longer. So if somebody's like, well, what's the difference between the two Slims? Like, why would I choose one over the other? Make sure and mention those things that I just told you about hunger control to help them kind of differentiate. I mean, the name should really speak for itself, but there are added benefits beyond just helping control hunger that we want to make sure to point out to people also. If they want more information about microbiome activating, if for whatever reason they tried hunger control in the past and maybe it wasn't a good fit for them, look in the back office in the VO. There's a great video on, even on the Renew You Challenge page, there's a video about the microbiome activating Slim that can be very beneficial as well. Kim says, my understanding it's synthetic fiber. Is that true? Okay, this is my explanation about polydextrose, because it really gets a bad rap. It is synthetic in the sense that it is not naturally occurring. It's a derivative of corn. So they take non-GMO corn and they isolate some fiber out of that to create the polydextrose. So it is corn-based. That's important to note. But I try to get people to think of it like this. Ketchup isn't naturally occurring either. Now, I'm not saying that ketchup is healthy necessarily, but ketchup is a byproduct, or tomato sauce or tomato paste or any of the things that we use frequently in cooking in our kitchen. Well, those aren't naturally occurring either. They're a derivative of something that is naturally occurring. tomatoes. So I personally don't have an issue with polydextrose as long as it is being sourced from non-GMO corn. I think that's the key thing to point out, is that it is being derived from a healthy source. So that's a little bit of some of the benefits of Slim hunger control. Next, let's talk about Metaburn, because Metaburn is going to be one of the other key components for somebody that is really wanting weight loss. So we define Metaburn. I mean, if you look at the name, and I know I've trained on this before, when we came up with a name for it, we took two terms, meta for metabolism and burn for a fat burner. And so what a metabolic fat burner gets defined as in the supplement industry is a thermogenic. And what thermogenics do is they aid in weight loss by helping to speed up your metabolism, increase your energy, and burn and melt away fat. Especially Metaburn was formulated to target the areas that are typically most troublesome for people, which is the buttocks, hips, and thighs. So that formulation is specifically targeted to address and burn fat from those areas, because those are most often the most stubborn areas for people to lose weight from. Now, the thing about Metaburn that, okay, so people may say, well, I've tried thermogenics in the past and I really don't like them because they make me jittery and they make me feel weird, and they make my heart race or whatever. There are, y'all, thermogenic is a broad term, and there are some out there, especially ones that you can walk into big box stores or GNC, even from other supplement companies, that I would never recommend to anybody for the very reasons that I just mentioned. But some of you have probably heard me say this before. When I was shown the ingredients for Metaburn as they were formulating it, I literally squealed. I was so excited because it includes some ingredients that other supplements that are out there simply don't have, especially not in the formulation that we have. So first of all, it is a formulation of naturally occurring botanicals and herbal ingredients. So we're back to being plant-based. And what these ingredients are proven to do is to rev up the metabolism. Specifically in the Metaburn, it is the green tea extract. If you've done any research on green tea, you know that it has been around for centuries. It's a hallmark of most Asian cultures, in particular the Japanese culture. It does have caffeine in it, but it's a kind of a different form of caffeine than what you would find in coffee. But it's really healthy, high in antioxidants, but proven to really help with blood sugar balance and metabolism. There are two other ingredients that are in Metaburn that are specifically designed to burn fat that most people are not familiar with at all. One is grains of paradise. If you've taken Metaburn before, or if you have, you're getting people going on these products, sometimes I just want to prepare people for stuff in advance. If you've taken Metaburn and you have felt what you thought was heartburn in the past, it's not heartburn. Grains of paradise is a member of the black pepper family, so it's a spice. It's been used for centuries, in particular in the Indian culture, as a spice. And so that's why people can kind of get that burning sensation that they misidentify as heartburn. Just tell people to drink a lot of water. Some people find that drinking milk helps, but I do just fine drinking water if I have it. Also sometimes helps. We do recommend that you take it before a meal, but some people tolerate it better with some food on their stomach. So you just got to play with it and see how it's going to work best for them. And then the other fat burning ingredient in Metaburn is Forskolin. So for those of you that are gardeners who love, especially in the spring, to plant pots or a plant that loves shade. If you're familiar with the plant Coleus, anybody familiar with Coleus? It's one of my favorite ones to use. That is actually what Forskolin is derived from. So it's literally like a plant that you put in your yard. And that's where we get Forskolin. The other ingredient that I want to mention in Metaburn because it's my favorite one that's in there, is the Rhodiola. Rhodiola is an adaptogenic herb. Adaptogens have been, again, studied and used for centuries. And what they do is they help your body to deal with high cortisol or high stress levels. So what we know about cortisol is that when your body is under stress, it has a natural response to crank out cortisol. That's fine in an acute situation, but when stress becomes long-term, and so many of us just live in a constant state of stress, then your body produces too much cortisol, and cortisol and blood sugar have this really intricate relationship. They need one another, but too much of either one is not a good thing. And so what happens with cortisol levels that go too high is that your body stays in a constant state of inflammation, and you store fat in those very areas that I mentioned before, particularly stubborn, hard belly fat. So if you've ever noticed that some people just store fat differently, and for some people it's like squishy and whatever, kind of like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and for other people it's almost like a hard fat, and that is what I would define as a classic cortisol belly. So this ingredient Rhodiola that is in Metaburn helps with your cortisol to lower it so you lose that cortisol belly, but it also helps with mood health, clarity, all of that as well. So it has some benefits outside of just being a great fat burner, in the sense that it also helps with mood and focus as well, and helping people deal. I mean, we're just coming off the holiday season. That's one of the most stressful time of the year for people. So those are just a couple of ingredients that I wanted to point out in Metaburn. The other product that I'm really excited that they included, it's one of our newest products, is Active. And Active is there for a couple of reasons. One is it just helps a ton with energy. And a lot of times when people, not that we're necessarily asking people to follow a specific diet, but one of the things that happens when people do go on a diet is we've been so trained to this calories in, calories out mentality, or that if I just reduce my calories, I'll lose weight. So one of the things that happens when people do that is they get tired, they get cranky, they get brain fog. And so, like I said, we're not encouraging a heavily calorically restrictive diet. I know that we have provided a meal plan to go along with this, and it is very well balanced. But Active was included because by definition, its name is exactly what we are asking people to do, is to become more active. And oftentimes, if you're getting up early in the morning to go work out, you're tired. Or if you're working out later in the day, you're tired. If you will drink your Active as a pre-workout or while you're doing your workout, it's going to help you power through and feel like you have the energy that you need to get through that workout. Now, I will say, and I know I've said this before, and so is Becky Page, when they first said to us, hey, we want to do an energy product, we were both like, ooh, like literally my face did that, because I have, and I think a lot of people have, such a negative connotation with energy drinks, and trying to reconcile that with like a gut health company. But they have formulated Active in such a way that it is such a clean energy product. Those of you who take it, you probably love it as much as I do. I usually mix mine with Slim because then I can knock them both out at the same time. And I actually really love the flavor of Slim, Hunger Control, and Active. But your people don't have to take them together. They can do their Slim in the morning and their Active in the late afternoon. It does have the equivalent of about a cup and a half of coffee. So if your people are caffeine sensitive, just make sure that they are aware of that. MetaBurn has the equivalent of about a half cup of coffee. So if you were to take both products, it would be like drinking 2 cups of coffee. So if they are caffeine sensitive, we would want to make sure that they were not taking MetaBurn or Active past 2 p.m. in the afternoon, because we don't want to do anything to disrupt their sleep. The only ingredient that I'm going to point out in Active for you guys, just because I think it's one of the most important, is something called Actogen that's in it. And basically what Actogen does is it helps with muscle repair and muscle recovery. But as soon as I saw the ingredient profile for MetaBurn, and I started doing some research on it, I immediately knew that Active was going to be beneficial for people way outside of just like using it as a muscle recovery, you know, from a workout or something like that. And the reason for that is that Actogen helps at the mitochondrial level. There's something called ATP, and that's actually what fuels your mitochondria. And studies have shown that people who have autoimmune issues, especially things like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, they have a deficiency. Their body does not produce ATP well, and so therefore it sort of leaves their mitochondria starved for energy. And so one of the things that Actogen does, that's the active ingredient in Active, is it stimulates ATP production. And so it's a really great product to recommend to people who you know struggle with either as a standalone or obviously as part of this system, who struggle with issues like fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, or just any kind of overall like muscle achiness and pain, because we've seen so many amazing testimonies of it helping with that. That obviously is a non-compliant claim, so I would not post that on social media, but it's something that you can say to your friend, hey, this is one of the ingredients. It's been shown to help with this. I would love for you to try it and tell me what you think. So of the initial Renew You bundle, the last ingredient to cover is lean whey. You can get that in chocolate or vanilla. It's up to them. The lean whey is really important because, like I said, we are, one, getting enough protein, especially good, clean protein, is difficult. Nobody wants to eat 10 chicken breasts a day. Most people need about half your body weight in protein, in terms of that's how you would calculate your macronutrient for it. So it's about half your body weight. If you've ever practiced counting macros, you can find that it can be very difficult to hit your protein goal for the day. And so that's one of the reasons that we included lean whey as part of this Renew You, is because protein is key to weight loss and building muscle and repairing muscle. And obviously we want people working out, but it can be challenging to get enough protein in your diet. So I know when I was counting macros, if at the end of the day I realized I don't have enough protein, this was my go-to to try to get that protein in, because it's got 15 grams of protein in it, which is not a ton, but oftentimes it's enough to just fill in that gap. Protein, and also I want to point out that it is a whey protein isolate, and what that means for people who may come to you with the objection that they cannot do dairy because they are lactose intolerant or they need to be dairy free. So when you look at dairy, there are 3 proteins that make up a dairy product, okay, whether it's milk or whatever. And that is whey, it is casein, and it is lactose. And so most of us are familiar with lactose as being, the big allergic offender. And that's why there's like lactose-free milk and things like that. Honestly, the one that is the most pro-inflammatory and creates the most issues in people who are dairy allergic is the casein. And so when I tell y'all that this is a whey protein isolate, focus on that term isolate. That means they went in and they isolated out the 2 most common allergens, the casein and the lactose, and what they have left behind is the whey, which is rich in protein, which is great for building and repairing muscle. It's good for bones. It's got tons of health benefits. You can Google those. I won't go into them. But it's also important if it comes up in a conversation with someone that we source our protein from cows that have not been treated with growth hormones. That's another big issue in weighing out, no pun intended, your options when you're looking at a protein powder is if it is an animal sourced protein, what were these animals treated with? And so for it to be antibiotic and growth hormone free is really huge. And like I said, I am not a vanilla lover, but some people just rave about the vanilla. I don't like vanilla anything. I don't like vanilla ice cream. I don't like vanilla latte. I just don't like vanilla. But give me all the chocolate. Like, I love our chocolate, and I love that we have so many recipe options for people to kind of mix up, a lot of times, especially if you're using it as maybe a substitute for breakfast or lunch, if you're taking it at lunch, if you're doing something like intermittent fasting, it can get boring to have the same thing every day. So make sure that you're steering people who are in the challenge to some of the recipe options that we have for, like I like to put peppermint oil in my chocolate whey, because then it kind of makes it taste like mint chocolate ice cream. And I'm like deceiving my brain into thinking that it's getting a yummy treat. So that is the core of the products that are in the 3-day challenge kits, and then also in that initial Renew You product. But I wanted to make sure and emphasize to you guys, because I know we've been talking a lot about weight loss, and I don't ever want us to get away from the fact that Plexus is and will always be a gut health company. And so that is why I love that they also offered the option. It is a little bit more to get triplex, so Slim Hunger Control, ProBio 5, and BioCleanse, in addition to MetaBurn Active and Lean Whey. So let's talk about gut health for just a minute, and I'm not gonna, y'all know I could talk about that all day, but I'm not gonna keep y'all too long, so I won't. So like I said, this is Plexus, and we are and always will be a gut health company. So this challenge is in no way an attempt to abandon our focus on the microbiome. I've been with Plexus I'm coming up on 6 years. January 25th will be my 6-year anniversary. And 6 years ago, nobody was talking about gut health at all. Like, we had to research for ourselves what terms like microbiome and leaky gut and all of those things are that are like part of the American lexicon now. And that is because more and more research is coming about that validates the link between gut health and basically everything. There's commercials, Aveeno and Dove, talking about the skin microbiome. Well, we were ahead of that game when we came out with Joyome. All of the different supplements that are out there now that are probiotics as well. But specifically, when we talk about weight management, they are just uncovering more and more evidence about the link between gut health and weight management. And so we all know that our gut bacteria or our gut microbiomes, if they're good bacteria, they are what keep us healthy. And if they're bad bacteria, that's what wrecks our immune system, but it can set off a host of other issues as well, in particular inflammation. And inflammation is always going to, what's the word that I'm looking for? If you're inflamed, you've got a gut health issue, and you probably have a weight problem as well. So a healthy gut equals a body that has the ability to better assimilate and absorb both your macro and your micronutrients. So when I say macronutrients, for those of you that aren't familiar with that term, your macronutrients are your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. Obviously, within each of those three categories, there are good carbs and bad carbs. There are good fats and unhealthy fats. There are good protein sources, and there are not so great protein sources. And we can do a call later if you want to and focus on that at another time. But in order for, and then when we say micronutrients, we're talking about everything outside of that, like vitamins, minerals, etc. So in order for your body to be able to take even the good food that you eat, let's say you eat a super clean, well-balanced diet. In order for your body to be able to take that food in, those nutrients in, and do what it needs to do with them, use them for fuel, store them properly for healthy bones, muscle, tissues, eye function, brain function, all of that stuff, your gut has to be in a position to be able to absorb that stuff. Have you ever heard the term skinny fat before? Those are people who are very skinny, but they're skinny because they're actually have a malnourishment issue, and their body isn't able to take in nutrients the way that they should. Now, poor gut health also reduces the body's ability, like I said, to take in these, to absorb them. And when it can't do that well, it can easily result in weight gain. Some of the factors that contribute to that are a poor diet. So we're trying to help people with that by offering a very well-balanced meal plan. Artificial sweeteners, obviously, we've said no to artificial sweeteners from day one in Plexus. Every product that we have that utilizes a sweetener, it is plant-based and derived. It's not chemically made. We do not use sucralose. We do not use aspartame. The only sugar alcohol that we use is xylitol, and I believe that is only in our children's chewable vitamins. And that's because it actually has some benefits for teeth health for children. So I just wanted to point that out. Other factors that can contribute to poor gut health are antibiotics. I know that we've all read before that just one course of antibiotic, it can take a year for your gut to fully recover from that. Well, folks, we're at a time of the year where people are dealing with strep and all kinds of things that they're having to take antibiotics for. And antibiotics serve a purpose. I mean, we have them for a reason. I could make the argument that they are overprescribed, but I won't get into that right now. But just know, as you're visiting with somebody, if they're like, yeah, I just had strep, or my kids just had strep, and so we all had to be on antibiotics, this is an opening and an opportunity for you to begin to start a gut health conversation with them. I talked about stress earlier when I mentioned MetaBurn and how stress contributes to weight gain. So when our stress levels are high, that is a massive contributor to weight gain and to poor gut health. When your body, studies have shown, like in vitro studies or studies that have been done in rats, that when they put them in situations that are stressful, their good gut bacteria will actually die. So it's really important for anybody that is going through a stressful time to be on a quality probiotic. And then processed foods, because they typically are high in sugar, or, sugar goes by a lot of names in the food industry. It can hide as fructose or high fructose corn syrup or whatever, but it's still sugar, and it's in almost every processed food that's out there. And we know that sugar feeds candida, and then you get into a whole big mess with your gut health. So that's why I was really excited that they offered the opportunity to include triplex as part of this Renew You challenge, because we know that health is about so much more than just, lowering your BMI or fitting into a pair of jeans that, you've wanted to get back into. Those are great things too, but we really want to focus on a holistic approach and a whole body health approach with our system. I also forgot to mention, speaking of gut health, that in addition to being a great source of protein, the lean shakes also have a very excellent vitamin profile, and they include prebiotic fiber. And so that prebiotic fiber, in addition to the polydextrose that is in Slim, also really helps to feed your good gut bacteria as well. So it works as a system, and I hope that y'all are beginning to see that that's really the approach that Plexus is moving towards, is creating systems that are very easy to recommend to people, that are very easy to give you an in with people, like, hey, are you looking for, okay, so-and-so's looking for weight loss. Well, I've got something great to offer them. But so-and-so and her family also seem to have been really struggling, like they've caught every bug and virus and whatever that's out there. That gives me an opportunity to talk to her about, the gut health aspect of this challenge too. Are the prebiotics in hunger control? So I'm probably going to butcher your name. Is it Felicita? I don't know if I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Yes, there's depends on who you ask out there, but fiber in and of itself is a prebiotic. So I think it is a fair statement to say that the fiber that is in Slim will work as a prebiotic as well, although it's not technically defined as that. See if there's any other question. Okay, so Kim, I would be careful on recommending MetaBurn for underweight people too, because when we talk about adrenal fatigue, you have to remember that there are two spectrums of adrenal fatigue. Even within the autoimmune community, that gets recognized as Cushing's and as Addison's. So there are people that have too high cortisol, and those are the people that need to take something that has adaptogens in it so that their cortisol is lowered. So adaptogens will help to lower cortisol. They will not help to raise low cortisol levels. So if you've got somebody who struggles with having not enough cortisol, I would not suggest MetaBurn for them, because that's not what adaptogens are intended for. That's somebody that probably needs to be under a physician's care and take some kind of naturally occurring, there's prednisone, and I hate prednisone. I think prednisone is the devil, but the naturally occurring bioidentical hormone is hydrocortisone or hydrocortisol, and that typically can be compounded in a pharmacy, but that's a discussion that needs to be done with a doctor. Somebody says, I use either Slim or Active as a liquid versus almond or coconut milk in my lean. Yeah, that's great. And, we for years did what we called belly buster challenges, and we had them drink, then our shakes were called 96, now they're called lean. And we had people mix it with either coconut milk or cashew milk, and then put a stick of Slim in it. So if that works for you, do it. If you're alert, there's no grains in lean whey. It's grain free. The vegetarian has grain in it, and I believe the vegan does too. But the other one doesn't. Something in lean messed with my mom's tummy. Maybe it just takes some getting used to. And then let me see. Yeah, I'm not a huge proponent of throwing a banana into the shakes. I know a lot of people do like a frozen banana and put it in there. The thing about bananas is, and there's a graphic floating around out there somewhere, you know how they go from like green and underripe and not tasting so good to like brown and mushy and super sweet, and that's when we use them to make like banana bread or something like that with. As they ferment, the sugar content actually increases in them, and so depending upon how old your banana is, you could be getting a different level of sugar from it. Now, do I think that anyone in the world has ever gotten fat off of eating bananas? No, I don't think that. Vicki says 55 deceptive names for sugar and processed food. Tina, if your mom is doing fine on Metaburn because she likes it for mood, I would say fine, continue with that. But if she becomes grossly underweight, and then I think it's also an important question to ask, why is she underweight? Is she underweight because she is malnourished? And if that's the issue, then we really need to focus on her gut health so that we can get so that we can maybe get her gut a little bit healthier so that she's better able to absorb nutrients. That's about all I have for you guys, unless there is a question anybody has. And if you do, just unmute yourself. Yeah, if you're allergic to grain, lean whey is okay. It's grain-free. Any questions? Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go. And as soon as I get this uploaded, I will post it under the link on the table so that you guys can share it with any teammates that were not able to be a part of it. And thank you guys so much for your patience with yesterday. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye-bye.